Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining AARP Houston and Best Friends Animal Society for our webinar series focused on combating isolation by connecting people with pets and helping homeless pets get into loving homes. My name is Rosalinda Martinez, and I am the Associate State Director of Outreach and Advocacy here in Houston. For those of you who don't know, AARP is the nonprofit, nonpartisan social mission organization dedicated to helping people 50 plus live their best life and choose how they live as they age. Now, one way we are doing this is by combating isolation. For those of you who don't know, did you know that isolation and loneliness can lead to health effects such as a 26% increased risk of early death, an increased risk of dementia, also an increased risk of heart disease and stroke, and even depression, anxiety, and suicide. And since the pandemic, the number of people looking for companionship and to make a human connection has increased. That is why AARP in Houston and Best Friends Animal Society are partnering today, intending to ease loneliness and bring comfort during these stressful times by pairing Houstonians with adoptable Houston pets. Now, the campaign features free webinars like the one today, and participants will receive a special 50% discount code to adopt a loving pet through Houston's Best Friends adoption program. Now, you can register at bestfriends.org/AARP. Now, that's bestfriends.org/AARP. By registering for the webinar, you will receive a special discount code starting at 50% off toward adopting that pet with Best Friends Animal Society. Now, you do not have to register to attend the webinar, but you do have to register to get your discount code. So we encourage you to adopt a furry friend to bring you happiness, comfort, and purpose. Now, for isolation resources, you can visit my.connect to the number two affect.org. Now let's get on with the program. Joining us today are trainers and experts to connect you with tips for how to get involved with Best Friends programming and even how to deal with separation anxiety as we all return back to work. Before we get started, a friendly reminder to put your questions in Q&A or in the comments if you're watching on Facebook. Now, we are also celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, honoring the contributions of Latinos across our country. So today it is my pleasure to introduce Sylvia Casares, chef and restaurateur of Sylvia's Enchilada Kitchen.
I'm Sylvia Casares, and I am the executive chef and the owner of Sylvia's Enchilada Kitchen in Houston. When you own a pet, you're giving attention, but you're also getting. And so that companionship to me is just so wonderful. I think as people, we are designed to love and of course to be loved, and a pet can provide that. I always tell my daughter that the word dog is God spelled backwards. So I was very pleased and very happy to be a part of this initiative to encourage people to consider adopting a pet. And you will not only give, but of course you'll receive a lot of love.
Encouraging Houstonians to step up and open your home to pets in need. So we are thankful to have her. We want to thank Rosalinda and the AARP Texas team for joining with Best Friends Houston, and like we all have said, to help combat loneliness by opening your home to a loving pet, just like Craig here, who we will talk about in a minute. But my name is Data. I am with the Best Friends Houston team, and we are a program team here that works not only with all the local shelters, but local rescues to help our mission of making sure that no cat or dog or other pet in a shelter setting loses its life due to lack of resources or lack of space. So Best Friend mission is to end the killing of, so no shelter pet loses its life by 2025 nationwide. We do understand that this is a big goal and a hefty goal. So that's why we understand the importance and hope that you as the community will join us, because it does take every shelter, every rescue partner, every business animal advocate and community member to help make that goal possible. We truly do believe that pets belong in a home setting and that there is a home for every single pet in need out there. Not only like Craig, but big dogs over 40 pounds, special needs animals, medical animals, we do know that there's a perfect match and home for every animal. I know that Rosalinda talked a little bit about this, but we cannot agree more that bringing home and opening your home to a pet just like Craig or other animals that you see across the Houston, or even in any nation videos or posts that you see, is so incredibly important. They bring unconditional love to your home. It can be such a fun journey to have an animal as part of your family setting, whether it's temporary as a foster or permanently as an adoptive pet. Fostering is a big way to be able to help your local shelter and rescue group. As fostering, you're able to temporarily able to bring a pet into your home for a short period of time that works for your schedule. And the pets actually get to acclimate to that home setting, which we ultimately want to match them with. So Craig here is one of our adoptable pets. He is approximately 4.5 to 5 months old. He and all his litter mates, unfortunately, ended up in a setting that we needed to get them out of, and matched up with foster homes so that we could get him and his siblings vetted and adoption ready. And we get to learn all those notes about what his perfect match would be. Every day in Houston, there are pets that end up in the local shelters, and the greater Houston area is very large, as we all know and live here. So approximately about 40,000 pets end up in shelter settings just between the county shelter, Harris County Pets, and Bark, the city shelter. So that's enough animals to fill up Minute Maid Park. So if you can imagine, just between the two largest shelters in the city, over 40,000 pets need our help to be matched with loving foster homes and adoptive homes in the long run. As Rosalinda mentioned, by being a part of this webinar and for registering, and you still have time to register, you will get a 50% adoption discount. And every adoptable pet through our Best Friends Houston program will come adoption ready with age appropriate vaccines. They are spay or neutered. They are microchipped, which is very important to be able to reunite pets, as sometimes they get lost with their owners who are looking for them. So we hope that you will check out our website and see some of our adoptable pets. And if you're not ready to foster or adopt at this time, there's so many ways that you can help and get involved, not only with the Best Friends mission, but to help pets in need across the country. Make sure to check out your local shelter, local rescue groups, or even with Best Friends Houston. We have all kinds of volunteer opportunities that you can do remotely from home, or if you're ready to come out and be around our team during events or foster rallies or transport, we could always use more volunteers. And it's an amazing mood booster to be around people like-minded helping pets in need, and also around all these sweet little faces. So check out the website, bestfriends.org/AARP. And thank you again for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of the webinar, and please send your questions and comments, and we will be able to answer everything that you need.
Let's try that again. Hi, I am Carrie McKeel. I am the State Communication Strategist with Best Friends Animal Society. And we are so fortunate to have with us some animal experts and behaviorists from the Best Friends team here to answer some questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and take a minute and drop them in the chat, and we will get to the chat. But we're going to go ahead and kick things off with some questions that we had gotten in advance. So I'd like to bring Samantha Bell, Tyranny, and Michelle Logan on. Looks like we're up and running. And they are here to answer some questions. So we'll go ahead and start off with Tyranny. What are some best ways to prevent separation anxiety with my pet prior to my return to work?
Well, starting with short periods of time leaving the house, if possible, is a great idea. But always remember that coming home and leaving shouldn't be a big deal to your animal. We should make it as calm as possible. This just makes it an easier transition for them. But there are also a lot of fun things you can do when you do leave the house. Aromatherapy is a great one. Lavender oils are said to reduce stress in dogs. You can also do music and audiobooks, leave the TV on, something like that for the dog to be calmer when you're away. But the most important thing is that when you get home, it's not a big deal, so the dog doesn't think you leaving was such an issue.
Awesome. Thank you for that great advice. And I think, with so many people returning to work after being gone for so long with the pandemic or even going back to school, it's very helpful insight to help your pet adjust. So thank you for that. Another question we have, and Michelle, I'll direct this one to you. What are some ways I can get my dog to walk well on a leash and not react to other dogs or people walking by?
Yeah, there's a lot of different tips for that one. I think the first and foremost is to make sure that you have control of your dog. A lot of dogs don't do well just walking on a flat collar. There's all different kinds of harnesses and head halties and things like that that can help redistribute the pulling for the dog so it makes it easier for you to handle them. The biggest thing I can say really is knowing your dog and knowing, right, if you know that your dog is reactive to other dogs, try to avoid giving him that opportunity, right? So you don't want to have to walk in close proximity to another dog right away. And you also want to work on relationship building with your dog. Treats are a great way to do that if your dog is motivated, right? And simply saying their name and getting them to look up at you. So then if you see another dog coming from a distance, you can pull your dog off the path, off the trail. I do it every morning. We have one sidewalk. So I pull my dogs up when another dog is coming in my direction, and we just sit in someone's driveway and I just get their attention focused on me. They sit, they wait, the other dog passes, and then we can continue along.
Great. And you mentioned some harnesses. Do you, are there sites or certain retail outlets where you would recommend people could find those types, or is there a specific type that you think works better than others?
The Freedom harness is really a good one. It can have 2 points of contact, one on the chest and one on the back. I would recommend, if you've never had your dog harnessed before, there's all kinds of charts online, the same way when we order clothes online and you're like, I swear I should have been able to fit into that small, and you don't, right? It's probably better if you have the opportunity to take your dog down to a local pet store and let someone there help you find the exact right size for them.
Great, thank you. So Samantha, how we get our cats to stop scratching our furniture and chewing on cords?
Oh, that's a very common question. A lot of people come to me about cats that are chewing on things. And the one thing I always tell people, which a lot of people don't realize, is that cats are still, a big part of their brain is still wild, not domesticated the way dogs are. And one of a cat's wild instincts, which is still in their brain, even if they're just sitting on your couch, as domestic as can be, one of their instincts tells them they need to chew things. So it's instinctive, so you can't extinguish it. You can't get rid of that desire to chew. So you have to give them things that are appropriate to chew. So around here, whenever I get a delivery, I leave that cardboard box out with the flaps open and the cats just chew. I mean, it looks like it's all just destroyed around it. We have cat grass. We have some little just toys that are mesh that feel good to sink their teeth into. So you just have to give your cat something to chew that's appropriate so that they don't chew inappropriate things.
I love the idea about delivery boxes. It's a great way to recycle those boxes too. Okay, so we're going to take a minute and let people drop some more questions in the chat. In the meantime, Carol, I want to introduce Carol Reyes. She's with our advocacy team, with the Best Friends advocacy team. And she's gonna pop on here for a minute just to talk to us a little bit about what our action team does.
Yeah, hi Carrie, thank you so much. Hi everyone, I'm super excited to be here and talk to you about the action team, what it is and why you should join and how you can be a part of it. The 2025 action team is a community movement made up of diverse advocates and pet lovers that are ready to help save more dogs and cats across the country by connecting and building a team of strong supporters within their communities. And so we have what we call action teamers all around the country, including in Houston and other parts of Texas that are doing amazing work on the ground. And by joining the Best Friends 2025 action team, you will learn about all the ways you can help the pets and the people in your community, how to have conversations with friends, neighbors, and even local officials on issues impacting animals and ways to help them. And you will also learn how to build on those relationships in order to kind of expand your support. You'll also be able to be invited to our monthly action team calls where every month we discuss different topics, including issues impacting animals, what you can do to help animals starting at a local level within your community, and provide all sorts of resources, both in English and Spanish. So to get started and to sign up to be a part of our action team, you can visit bestfriends.org/action team, or send us an email at action2025@bestfriends.org. And so with that, I'll hand it back off to Carrie. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Carol. And Michelle, back to you. Actually, we have a question in our chat. And it says, to keep your dog from reacting to other dogs during a walk, you mentioned you get your dog's attention and point it to your eyes. What are some ways of doing that? My dog doesn't always react to his name. Should I get his attention by giving them a treat? I worry about giving him too many treats. What would you say to that?
Yeah, so you can work up to giving less treats, right? And I point to my eyes because I want them to give me eye contact. I want them to look for me for how they should be reacting. And honestly, it's really as simple as if they're not reacting to their name, if you put the treat by their face and then pull it up to your face, right? So you're giving them the signal that you want them to make eye contact with you and look to you for direction as to how they should react. Dogs, again, when I take my dogs every morning, I take treats with me and they are constantly looking at me and checking in. I don't give them a treat every time. It also keeps them to consistently check in because they never know when that treat is coming. So, and you can pair it if they don't listen well to their name. There are clickers you can use. I struggle, myself in being able to click and get my timing right and everything, but you can use a unique noise too. Whether it's a whistle that you use or or something like that, something unique that you don't do on a daily basis. I know a lot of people that will say, okay, when they want the dog to, or yes, we say those all the time in conversation. So the dog will constantly hear you saying that and be like, what, right? So you want to use something unique, but you can do that to get their attention if they're not super receptive to their name.
Thank you. Some great tips there. All right. So next question, Tyranny. What types of things should people consider when selecting a pet to adopt?
I think matching energy level is really important. So if you're an active person, maybe a younger dog that's up for hiking, and being honest with yourself. So if you're not and you want to stay home on the couch and hang out, maybe an older dog would be a great fit for you, or a dog that's okay doing that and doesn't need as much exercise, but kind of just going off of that activity level. And honestly, breed really has little to do with it, but it's something to keep in mind when you're looking for dogs, because sometimes it can match energy level, but it's not always the case. So I wouldn't go off of breed specifically, but kind of what you think vibes with your energy in the home.
And what do you think about like resources? Obviously, some dogs are more in terms of grooming and things like that. Is it important for people to consider, the time and energy and resources it takes to even just kind of, take care of your pet from a medical standpoint or from a grooming standpoint?
Yeah, so from a grooming standpoint, long-haired dogs can get matted. So they just get clumps of hair stuck together. So they are going to need some grooming. So that's something to take into consideration. And if you stay on top of it, that's something you can take care of on your own. You don't necessarily need to go to a groomer. And age also for medical reasons is something you want to be mindful of. And I will say, they do say that mutts and mixes of dogs are healthier all around than purebreds. So whatever you find in a shelter is going to be the right fit for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyranny. And so Samantha, do you have any tips for how people can acclimate a new pet to their home? What are some best ways that people can introduce maybe a new pet that they just got from the shelter, whether it be adoption or foster, to the pet that they may already have in their home?
Sure. So if you have pets at home already and you're bringing home a new foster or a newly adopted cat, you want to make sure that you really give a lot of attention to the current resident pet, because it's their territory. They've been loving their life. And then all of a sudden this new scent comes in, and cats live in a world of scent. And so they smell this new scent, and you want them to think, okay, this new scent has entered. Now your life is so wonderful and amazing. So you want to just give them all of their favorite foods, do their favorite enrichment, increase enrichment for them, maybe buy them a new fluffy bed or something. Just really give your resident cats as much love as possible so that they don't feel they've lost everything. And for the new cat, you want to keep them in a really small room, like a bathroom or something. And people think, oh no, that's so small, I feel sorry for them. But that's what they want. Cats like those small spaces. And if they're feeling nervous in a new environment, the smaller the better. They're going to feel more secure, and just kind of leave them and let them adjust on their own. Their stress levels when they change environments, their cortisol goes up for 72 hours and they're very stressed. They might not eat much. They might not want to interact with you. So you just give them space for a few days and lavish your current pet with love.
Great insight. Thank you, Samantha. And I'm going to bring Jada back real quick because we have a question about adoption. And I think she might be a good one to answer that here with regards to our local adoption program here in Houston. It says, does Best Friends help match your needs in a dog with what is available in the facility? Do you want to go ahead and take that one, Jada?
Yes, I would love to. And we get asked this all the time, right? How do we know what is the best pet for me personally or the family? And sometimes, what the family wants or what somebody wants might not be the best home setting. So through our adoptions team, we work really hard on the matchmaking. We want to make sure that it's not only a great fit for the family and the potential adopter, but obviously for the pet as well. We want them to have the best transition into that home. So that's why we're lucky being 100% foster based, that we get to really get great notes and the day in and the day out of what each pet in our program is. So when a family or anybody that applies and sends in that adoption survey, we really get to match you with a pet that not only fits your home setting, but obviously there's different types of energy levels. There's different types of environments that, some pets thrive better than in others. So we always love having that conversation, and we want to help match the best pet to your home and vice versa. As you can imagine, we get a lot of I would love to adopt a single black cat that's 4 months old. And the panelists will all agree that the first thing that we ask is so why do you want to adopt that pet? And then we get to really find out what that energy level they're looking for, what the environment of all the family members, because it does need to be a household decision as we want to match these pets to their forever homes. And one of my favorite things about Best Friends, we commit to every pet for their lifetime. So we're here through that adoption process for those questions and through that transition phase to make sure that the pet and all family members are acclimating together and we're setting them up for success. So that's something that I love about Best Friends. We really do want to make sure that both the adopter, the human, and the pet, it's the best match for both of them. And Best Friends are forever. I know that sounds corny, but it really is true.
Setting both you and the pet up for success. That's awesome. And so, Samantha, this kind of goes along the same lines as the question that we were just talking about, acclimating your pet to a home. I've heard things about the 3-day, 3-month kind of rule. How long do you feel like it really takes a new pet to start to become comfortable in their new environment or their new home? Is there a set rule or is every pet kind of an individual and it's just based on, their personality and how you adjust them to their new environment?
That is exactly it. Your second, what you just said, it is every single pet is different. When you if you bring home a foster cat that's just, oh, this is a cat that's been in the shelter a while, it just needs a break and it's a friendly cat. Sometimes you bring them home and they just immediately sit on the couch on your lap and they're totally fine and they don't need that because that's their personality. Cats are born with varying degrees of boldness and timidity. And if you get a bold cat, they're just gonna be like this little kitty. He's my foster. He just comes right in, jumps on the bed, sleeps with you, gives you kisses, all those things. And then there are some cats that have higher timidity levels and they're timid and nervous. And with those cats, it can take months. It could even take a year. My mom adopted a very shy senior cat from Best Friends, and after a year she said, oh my gosh, she's like a new cat. She's greeting people when they come in. So she hid under the bed for a year, and now she's super friendly. So it can be 1 hour, it could be 1 year. It all depends on the cat, and also, like you said, Carrie, about how you introduce them. If you let them make choices and feel confident about their life without forcing things upon them, they're going to adapt a lot quicker.
Great. Thank you. We're going to take one more question. I'm going to direct this one back to Michelle. So back to the conversation we're going to have about walking your dog. The question says, my dog likes to sniff around bushes during walks. I heard I should let him sniff, but sometimes I don't catch him quick enough and see he's now got a pizza or chicken bone in his mouth. Do you have recommendations on how to get your dog to leave it during a walk? I sometimes have difficulty opening his mouth to pull out the pizza or chicken bone.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do there. Yes, I do encourage letting the dog sniff along the way. There's also the opportunity, potentially, right? If it's a heavily dense bush, maybe you don't let him sniff there, but you let him sniff around the base of a tree where you have a line of sight of things that they might be able to get into. In terms of getting the chicken bone out of their mouth or something like that, you know, there's a lot of training tips you can do to work up to getting your dog to leave it. I would honestly say the easiest solution is to have with you something your dog really loves, right? So whether that's cut up hot dogs or something, you know, so if it's not something you want to spend a lot of time working up to, have something that's better than that chicken bone. So when they grab the chicken bone and you're like, hey, Max, look, I have this. Chances are he will drop that chicken bone that's going to not be easy to eat and grab that piece of hot dog. And then you guys can just continue on your walk.
Great. Thank you for that tip. All right. So if anybody else that's watching has questions that we might not have gotten to, or you think of one after we're done with this session, just go ahead and feel free to drop it in the chat. You can continue to put it there, and we will make sure that somebody follows up with you and gets you an answer to your question.
Thank you to Best Friends for being an ally of this wonderful work to combat social isolation. Thank you to the trainers who joined us today with wonderful information, and to everyone for their questions. We want to again encourage you to adopt a pet, and to do that, you can visit bestfriends.org/AARP. Again, you'll get a 50% discount to adopt a pet through the Best Friends Adoption Program. It's important for you to note that all pets adopted through the Best Friends Animal Society are vaccinated, spayed, or neutered, and have a microchip. So we really encourage you to adopt a furry friend, whether that's a cat or a dog. And again, for this promotion, you must take advantage of it before the end of the month. And for more information on and resources on fighting isolation, you can visit my.connect2affect.org or aarp.org/Houston for upcoming virtual events in your community to stay connected. Again, get involved with Best Friends today, and thank you so much for joining us.